Today is October 28th, 2024. Last few days have been a lot. Saturday on the 26th, I went into Bob Evans. This lady and these kids came in. You could hear them, and they said something about the shower scene in the other room. And the mother went and stopped. We already know they photoshopped it. And we all know that Agent John told on her. And they made fun of him. Stop it. Do you know what my dad would have done to me? He would have slapped me across the face. He would have marched my butt out of that restaurant, put me in the vehicle, rolled down the window a little bit, and said, "You sit there and think about your bad behavior," and went back in and finished his breakfast while I sat out there hungry. Because his motto was, not one of his children would ever act like that. He was hard and he was cruel. But he did not put up with us disrespecting anybody, let alone a rape victim. He would have slapped my face, walked me out to the car, rolled down the window enough so I had air, and told me to think about my bad behavior. He would have never let one of his children ever make fun of a rape victim. You know, if people would actually start correcting their kids, since when do we let our children bully people? Since when do we let them help out in crimes and laugh at people for a drug cartel running a drug scam on them? When they're the ones that are actually selling the children. And they would sell your children in a heartbeat and you'd never see them again. You know, they've told these people that Pete was a child molester, a human trafficker. He's a drug dealer. The one that did it to me is drug cartel. Why are you making fun of a victim that a drug cartel ran a drug scam on, of drugging me and telling me to say stuff and photoshopped washing in his own personal stalking tapes? You know, yesterday I was in a gas station on Middlebridge. I seen a guy that looked sort of like one of the guys from the case. And mumbling about, well, we all know John told her she couldn't say anything. Well, you have to be part of the drug cartel because the police wouldn't say that. Because why? When I talked to the police, I talked to the prosecutor's office, I talked to the criminal attorney, Agent John don't have enough authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. He's only a police officer. First Amendment, freedom of speech. It takes a judge to put a gag order on you. And in my situation, it just becomes stupid. I call the FBI hotline. I have these people nailed. I have 2 Perry police reports of being followed and rented. Attempted break-in. Dave incriminated himself that they knew where the security system was. Okay? I tell of 2 other attempts on my life. I have witnesses. I have 3 witnesses in the mall saying that it was their church trying to have me killed. Okay? So, conspiracy to commit murder and attempt to murder, and you got witnesses of them saying it's them, they're nailed. Okay? They were nailed before the case started. You can never kill anybody but in self-defense. For any reason. So I called the hotline. Next day they drugged me up so bad I can't wake up. Phone's ringing, let it go to voicemail. Have to hold on to the wall, to the bathroom, to the refrigerator, get back in bed, listen to the voicemail. This is Agent da-da-da, call me back. I can't fall back to sleep. 3rd day, I make myself get up. Sitting on the front porch, what's wrong with me? I feel drunk and I don't drink. got enough air in my face, called one of my witnesses, that I gave the hotline. Of course I'll witness for you. It's getting darker and scarier the way she talks about it. Go out and get a card, put that agent's number in it. Make an excuse to go down to the mall, give the card to her manager. She puts it in her locker. Go up to Apostolic Church of Barberton, and the agent's telling on me, and he's up at that church. Paul Paymer's yelling at Dave, my God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. I walk off. Women come up. He knows she's being drugged, beaten, raped, and he said he didn't care. I'm covered in bruises, been throwing up, almost passing out in front of people all summer long, and a severe personal infection. I'm thinking the dirty well water I'm just showering in is causing everything. I actually thought it had E. coli in it because it was orange and had iron in it. Iron won't make you sick. Okay? I go in and I sit down, and they follow behind me and sit down. He knows she's being drugged, beaten, raped, and he said he didn't care. If she was going to be faking she was sick, strangers lie to cover up Tim and Katie. Okay? He didn't care what happened to her. And if she was going to be mean to their women, he was going to turn her back over to them. He told them he wasn't going to help me. Dave comes in, let's go. And they even said, can you imagine an agent saying that? Dave comes in, let's go. We get out in the truck. You called the FBI on me? I had to kill you myself. And he starts punching me in the truck. He goes for a loaded gun. I put my hand on the console. He goes back to punch me. I almost dropped out on the highway. I ran from him when I got home. I called that agent back the next day. I tell him, somebody told him, you liar. I tell him about the guy that threatened to knife me at Giant Eagle. He calls me a liar. I said, well, he tried to kidnap me before. And before I can say Terry Coberly seen him, he's like, oh, come on. Even if a church person seen him, they would never verify it. Well, she did. That's why I didn't tell him about Terry. He said, I've met with that family in my office and all those church people. What'd you just say? You told them. On a recorded line. And he said, I know they're conspiracy to commit murder and attempt to murder. He knows this, and he's a cop. It's a federal crime. I know they're trying to kill you because you were faking you were sick and faking you got well while that family was grieving. I said I really was sick before. He's like, you liar? Was there a camera above the bench? I don't know. You say you're a liar and I'll put you in jail. Now he starts screaming again and screaming again. And he's like, I said, say it or I'll put you in jail. It's like, fine, whatever. Ha, 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 ha. I found out that guy is a serial killer. One of the human traffickers, one of the main kidnappers. He'd already killed Lori's family member at work. And he went on to take Marlisa's niece. And he helped grab other people. He let a serial killer go. He said, now I want you to say you were faking you were sick before. Well, that's absurd. I had 6 to 10 surgeries. My muscles locked up. And went to pain management. The ones I went to, witch doctors, crackpots. Falsely diagnosed me, gave me the wrong meds. My feet started swelling all the way up to my knees and higher. And my legs were so big that my knees were popping out of place. I had to go to orthopedic doctors pulling Turkish-based syringes of fluid out from underneath my knees. They gave me canes and braces because I was falling. My thyroid, adrenal gland shut down. My brain started swelling. I had seizures. I had many heart attacks. I was in cardiac wards. And where they were lying so bad, they said I had brain tumors and I needed my pituitary gland removed. I went to Altman Family Physicians before I let them cut on me. And they're like, whoa, we need to have a long talk. Those doctors are known for lying, falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, making them sick, getting kickbacks from the drug companies. And you get an attorney and sue them and turn them over to the state. You're not the first one, and you're not the only one they've done this to. Okay? Encouraged me for 2 years to sue them. Okay? Now, is that sick? That's almost dying sick. Okay? Where he said, I want you to say you were faking you were sick before. Well, that's ridiculous. I almost died. I said I really was sick before. You liar. I've met with that family in my office and all those church people. And I know they're trying to kill you because you were faking you were sick and faking you got well while that family was grieving. I said, and he said, and you need to realize what you've done. And I don't blame him for trying to kill you. That he was aiding and abetting attempted murder for any reason. Like an investigator said, I listened to the recorded line. I almost fell out of my chair the way he talked to her. Another one said he came up out of his chair. I said, I really was sick before. You say it or I'll leave you there. I said, but they'll try to kill me, so. They've tried to kill me, so. Say it or I'll leave you there. Please don't let them kill me. And I start begging him for my life. Say it or I'll leave you there. It's like, fine, just don't let them kill me. Why would the FBI help a person like you? Well, they're going to try to kill me. It's a sworn duty. I said, he's like, so? I said, they tried to kill me. So? Give me a real reason. The other agent yells out the rapist's name, the child molester, the human trafficker, the drug dealer that Dave hired on his own to run a drug scam. Okay? And I've never met him. He said, we could always use Pete's tape of Weird With Yourself, the shower scene in the other room that they made fun of FBI Agent John, June 7th, 23. FBI Agent John actually fell for the stun on tapes before. Oh, come on now, that FBI agent actually fell for that? You mean John actually fell for it? You're kidding. You mean that FBI Agent John actually fell for the stun on tapes before that were only a stunt? Is that what's going on? Is that why they got away with it? Because FBI Agent John fell for the stun on tapes before? June 7th, 23. Katie's sister Jody and Lighthouse Tabernacle and the cartel mocked the feds. Inside Walmart 62 and the sheriffs have their confession. Made a public fool out of it. They sent videos out of it, even to children, had little kids in the spring. I seen a video of them making fun of Will. You're a public fool. Okay. So what are you talking about? I've never even met him. The only Pete I knew was my brother Medina. He said, stop. He's laughing at me like a jackass. Stop, you don't know. Says something else about him. It's one of the black and blue marks. Where I'd come in from working outside, wash my hands, make something to eat and drink, go use the bathroom, wash my hands, come out, take a drink in the room, and go dizzy and black. Or wake up with injection marks and have bruises, throwing up, heart racing, severe infected. Went to Altman Family Physicians all summer long, summer of 18, and I lost 18 pounds before I called FBI. Okay? And I kept blaming the dirty well water. Is it making me sick just bathing in it? And I said, I got all these bruises. I don't know where they came from. Did you fall? No, maybe you're coming anemic. Gave me muscle relaxers, iron pills. The headache. I've been throwing up. Get some for headache and for nauseous. I know the well water is dirty and I'm washing in it. I have this personal infection. I can't even hardly go to the bathroom. So they had to give me pills and creams. Here I'm being drugged, being raped, drugged up and told to say stuff. So you're stoned out of your mind. You don't know what you're saying or doing. They call them amnesia drugs. You gotta think there's LSD, there's acid, there's mushrooms, there's a whole bunch of other illegal drugs, and there's over 20 prescription drugs that make you sleepwalk in high doses. Okay? So I'm like, what are you talking about? He's laughing at me. Stop, she don't know. They're laughing at me for the rapist. Dave hired on his own, like teenage kids. The FBI made fun of her for being drunk, being raped. FBI made fun of her for being human trafficked. They were using amnesia drugs, and she didn't realize what was happening to her. They need to take care of those idiots for laughing at her. And yeah. Okay. All right. So he said, I bet you're going to say you don't know anything about this doctor selling your information. Well, HIPAA violations. Your doctors can never talk about you without your permission. Some guy impersonating a doctor, another dark cartel guy. They can't talk to you talk about you so much that it's 1 to 5 years and $250,000 fine. It's right to privacy. Your medical records are not public information. Okay? Think about that. We're December 31st, 23. I'm in Altman Hospital with a client. Okay? Outside his room, the nurses are talking. My God, nobody's to talk to these people. They had some guy impersonate a doctor from Altman Hospital selling people's information. The hospital gets sued, it could get shut down. And no one's going to ever back those doctors from before. My God, they lied so bad. They said she had brain tumors and it was the medicine making her sick. Okay? And no one's going to back people making people sick, ripping off their insurance with medication errors and lying like that. When the only thing was wrong with her was her muscles locked up. Well, I found out I may have something actually wrong with my heart. I asked the doctor. I found out I have something called PAVR. The vein from my lungs to my heart only pulls like 50%. See, that's what they said 20 years ago. That the left side of my heart wasn't pulling enough. Well, I asked the doctor, I said, with it not pulling enough, when they gave me the wrong meds, is that what put me into heart attack? She's like, probably. So I don't know if they're going to, I was on calcium blockers and nitro pills. I felt better. I don't know if they're going to put me back on them or what, but, yeah. Because the medication just put me into mini heart attacks. Because I couldn't, it did everything in the world to me, what they were doing to me. They were a bunch of crackpots. My muscles locked up from 6 to 10 surgeries. I had endometriosis, then I had kidney stones, and then I had to have kidney surgeries, and then a major kidney surgery. And I had my appendix, my gallbladder taken out too, with all the other surgeries from the endometriosis. And my muscles locked up, cut front back. Within 2.5 years, 6 to 10 surgeries. Like a nurse said, you had so much trauma to your stomach and back, no wonder they locked up. They didn't have time to heal. And it took 9 months of being on fentanyl patches, muscle relaxers, and getting out moving for those muscles to stretch back out and for all the swelling to go down. And for me to learn to walk again on feet. Okay? They better thank God I never sued them. I probably would have been a millionaire. But Strange pushed Danny to suicide and I had to take care of Danny. It's the only thing that saved him from me suing him. I take care of my son. Okay? So, alright, get back to what that agent said. He said, he was laughing at me, stop, she don't know. Give me a real reason. Well, my brother-in-law, Craig Davis, he worked at the Pentagon under Dick Cheney. He died March 26, 1990. Okay? I tell him about him. He's like, first of all, um, have you talked to any law enforcement about the threats on your life? I said, the only 2 officers I've ever spoke to, I either call them silly or stupid. I said I had a light in the security system, 8818. Came out at midnight. They told me I looked like an alien orb or an angry spirit. Okay. And I thought they were dehydrated. I offered them water. You're kidding, right? I said no. I said, then they told me buy a dog and let a dog handle it. They don't want bothered out here. That police department's really dirty. One of the guys from the case said they were actually after the chief of police up there to get him to do crimes. My God, has he done crimes? Falsifying police reports. Arrested 2 guys for having baking soda on the carpet in the car, trying to absorb odor from a water leak. Tested negative twice for drugs because it was baking soda. He told them to write it up. They either wrote it up as crack or meth. Arrested him. They bailed out 70 grand, got an attorney, sent it off to the Secretary of State, and it was baking soda. They're in a lot of trouble. They got a date with federal court for that one. And then, I don't know how you pronounce it, Mantua police officer, a lady police officer. They must have had something against her. Now, dispatchers are police officers. Police dispatchers are police officers. She left her child with a police dispatcher while she went to work. They wrote it up that she left her child with a child molester. She left her with another police officer. She got suspended. Oh, and they both got cleared because they're police officers. She's suing them. That county's not going to think it's funny when they have to pay out millions of dollars of restitution for false charges. He tried to interfere in the presidential election, that if anybody votes for Harris, he dropped the illegal immigrants on their front yard. He used inmates as personal servants. He's running that place like a mob lord. One of the guys from the case said they were actually after him to do crimes in front of people. My God, is he doing crimes? He even got caught stealing from cases. I found out through the Tuscarora sheriffs, it's him sending out emails telling everybody not to believe me, not to help me. Badgering laws, Department of Justice 1729. You could never tell anybody not to believe somebody or not to help them. You go to jail for aiding and abetting the crimes. And I went down to get my CCW redone in like 21. And the Tuscarora sheriff that oversees CCW, sweetheart. My God, sweetheart. Absolute sweetheart. He's like, yeah, tell me what's going on. So I tell him. He's like, first of all, I want you to know, we all know your ex-husband's crazy. The FBI needs to hide you. He starts naming places. He said, and I'll let you know, the chief of police of Portage County is sending out emails that no one's to believe you, nobody's to help you. That's illegal. Department of Justice 1729. Yeah, that's a crime. A big one. It's aiding and abetting crimes. Okay? He said, and he's telling everybody that you're going out with all these men living this wild lifestyle. Well, with everything that I lived through, I went out on flight dates, flight dinners, okay, and out with friends. The cartel was telling everybody they owned me. I was afraid someone would get killed. Okay? And I told him, I said, I've only went for flight dinners and out to eat with friends. He started laughing. He said, who cares if you did go out with a lot of people and you're living a little bit of a wild lifestyle? It's none of their business. You don't write up crap like that on people. He said, you know what I did with that email? I threw it in the trash where it belongs. Because it was illegal to have them writing that up. Okay? So he's obstructing justice in my case. Right. Well, they said that because that drug dealer Pete told everybody he was a retired judge. They were looking at the judges up there for being in the drug cartel and wanting the drug connections to the law enforcement up there. The cartel already paid off one sheriff in Ohio to let him run drugs and sell people up there, and it was in a different part. It wasn't in Portage County, but it was in another county, and he took $100,000 payoff. He's in jail. They got him. Okay. So, getting back to when I was talking with that agent, when I told him those are the only two I ever talked to, I've never even had my neighbors in my home. I don't know what you're talking about. Is that what's going on? Then he offers to take me and leave me with no money. I don't have money to start. He said, well, I'll tell you what, if you agree to get information on David and the churches, I can open an informant program. Comes with $5,000 a month. I said, well, I can do that. He said, okay, I'm opening an account today. He said, you'll have a life of peace as an informant. Nothing legally stated, dated against you again, and only for you would I ever do this for, or will ever do this for. We'll always put it back as if it never happened. You can't be legally charged again for anything for working this case. He said, admit to no wrongdoing and I'll take care of everything in the end. But if you try to tell someone, unless you're crazy and no one will help you. Okay. I talked to the Stark County Prosecutor's Office, the guy from there. He started laughing until he cried. He said the police know that agent don't have enough authority to ask anybody to stay quiet, and they could never go along with that. It takes a judge because of the freedom of speech. He said, and that agent was only bullying you, so they get away with this. And you get the money for working the case and only for working the case. And he don't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. I said, well, he already told on me. He said he can't even talk to you like that. He said he can't bully you into false statements. The police know they can't go along with it. The only thing legal he did was list your informant with money and immunity, and the money's for working the case and only for working the case, and he cannot withhold it. Okay? I talked to a criminal attorney, other police departments, and my one friend Grant has a friend that's an FBI agent in another state, and he talked to him. And he said, you know, if he actually talked to her like that, they have him. Because it's a recorded line. And he figured there was 2 stealing in an office then. Okay? You think of the 2 that made fun of me. Now, either FBI agent John is dumb as a box of rocks where they mock him, and he's crooked as hell, or he's the best poker player in the world. Because as if a cop doesn't care a woman's being drug beat and raped. As if he doesn't care someone's going to be killed. For any reason besides self-defense. Are you allowed to even harm somebody? So either dirty as hell or the best poker player in the world. Because you got to think, I called a hotline. I got them nailed. In walks my husband, his little 18-year-old drug cartel girlfriend, and 2 pimps, and an occult leader. Into a federal office. Telling them they have cyber stalking tapes. They've been stalking me. Dave's saying he hired him. He's got an 18-year-old girlfriend. They have photoshopped a washing, and they have fake sodium pentothal reports, and they've been having me drug beat and raped. And an occult leader saying I ordered it 15 years ago because I listed her a faker. And he didn't nail him to his desk. Do you know, by federal law, he was to arrest him the first day. Send an ambulance up there. He would have found a drugged up rape victim that was so drugged up she couldn't wake up. That's how not funny this is. And that's where, about a month ago, I was in Akron. I had people follow me, and I know my car's bugged. And these people sold the case. It was probably that dirty police department. Although M13 is hacking protective custody cases and live streaming them. Okay? It was probably that. Okay? Selling the log. don't know who sold it. But M13 is hacking protected custody cases and live streaming. It's on Google. It may have been them. But then again, the king from Texas is U.S. military, Iraqi translator, went into the dark web, malware, fentanyl king. That's who Pete works for. I have, see, that agent even told me that his best friend was the chief of police of Canton, that he was a really good man, and if I couldn't get a hold of him, that the Canton police would always protect me, and he'd make sure of it. When I told the prosecutor's office what he said, I met him at McDonald's. It was amazing that day. As we're talking about what was said, all these Canton police officers paraded by, 10, 20 of them, and kept driving by the building. The chief of police of Canton in 2018 was a really good man. And that's when he said the police know they can't go along with any of what that agent said. That he can't bully you into false statements. He can't tell you can't say anything. I said, well, I already confessed he told on me, and he was witness telling on me. He said he can't tell on you either, and he can't ask you to stay quiet. You get the money for working the case and only for working the case. You don't have that kind of authority. It takes a judge because of the freedom of speech. He said, Karen, what these people did is a fraud scheme, where you had bruises you couldn't explain, throwing up, and all the signs of being drugged, being raped. They probably were drugging you up and telling you to say something stupid because you never talked to anybody. He said, and where they said they photoshopped a shower scene, they probably did. It's just clicking and pasting. They did the biggest mistake. They did it in your home. It's the right to privacy. Nobody can be in your home but protected like cases with statements. See, that's where even Officer Reinhardt lost. Even the FBI would go to jail for being in your home outside a protective light case with statements. They had to have a court order too, Fourth Amendment. They can't hire a drug dealer to run a drug scam. See, that's where Mike DeWine's cousin. What's wrong with your local police? They should arrest that agent for the way he talked to you. I found out through people that agent was telling everybody he was just acting that way to get the drug dealers. The police don't believe him anymore because he didn't pay me. I want my money to help my kids. I earned it. You know, I told Dixie a long time ago, one day you'll be really proud of me. I almost died to save everyone. People that worked the case, she almost died to save her family, and they don't even know it. A letter of thank you would help. They used my case. The marshal showed up January 20th, 23, and Worcester announced their presence. And they were complaining about that agent that he said he left me up there because of the shower scene in the other room. Can you believe it? He actually left her there. Where they made a public fool out of him. You know, I found a thing on Google of a cat dancing, and an actual cat doing all kinds of dances, because they photoshopped it. They can Photoshop anything. See, that's where I even talked to Sheriff Joe in Florida. He said, these people are pulling nothing but fucking shit with you. I know that. In January 25th, 2019, people were talking about some guy in Maslin helping him out get away with crimes. What is wrong with him helping them get away with crimes? These people cannot do anything. I was talking to my one son in the spring, and I dated a retired Maslin cop for a while. He said, you dated a retired Maslin police officer? Well, they told Dad that nobody could ever say a word to you. And he found out some guy in Maslin that was helping him isn't there anymore, and he fled the country. They were paying law enforcement off the cartel. I was listening to a video from Sheriff is it Grady or something like that, in Florida. He was talking about the drug cartel. They run scams on people, so law enforcement won't help them. And the victims try to get help and they won't. And time law enforcement gets around to helping them, they're too scared to talk to them. You know, after the marshals showed up and announced they were going to take care of it, and where my friend and I had dinner and said he had a friend on the police department, all these guys come in. January 20th, 23. They know about the case that agent opened with me. They know about the Texas group. Unlike the Kingsman, because we all work for the King from Texas. We are his men. Dave hired us. He's a drug lord. Went through the case of there was a retired judge in Texas involved. Went down to question him. He killed himself. There's another retired judge in another state involved in this. They found 35 people tied up in a railroad car, African American people. They were taking them and shooting them. And they were going to use that case, that agent opened with me to get these drug traders, human trafficking people. While these men watched, he sat and drilled me. And I walked out and I started stuttering. And that's when they announced we're the U.S. Marshals and we're going to be taking care of this, and they complained about that agent. Where they made a public fool out of him. You know, it's something. In May of this year, I was in Myers, North Main. Some lady came in. I talked to the police that actually work our case. They said they always knew the tapes before. First they said it's ridiculous for anyone to ever insult her. She almost died to save children. Okay? They always knew the tapes before were them and not her. Where the weird with yourself, it was a photoshopping of showering and washing. They knew they had drugged her and told her to say it before in their stalking tapes. And it was a backup plan. If she didn't die, trying to extort money or things from her. They already knew this. It was done by the drug cartel as a drug scam. That's where Officer Mark in August of 23 told a lady in Kohl's parking lot that it's been documented and verified that I was framed before. And it was the drug cartel that did it. It's also documented and verified that it was a medication error that made me sick before, and some other woman was using my insurance. Everybody turned this in. They talked about it up in Akron on the news. The despicable act of some law enforcement turning women and children back over to the drug dealers to get the drug dealers. It should never happen. It's effective, but demonic. There was a drugged up rape victim that a drug cartel is running a scam on. And he fed meat back to the drug cartel to abuse. Because you gotta think, you wanted an inside person. The person they're running a scam on. List them informant with money immunity. Legally tap their phone, their car, their home. And those idiots laughing in their face. Who they work for. And what crimes they were doing. And there were so many bad guys. Like they said, she was part of a really big bust. When the marshals left, they said they were going to take care of it. 3 weeks later, they did an 800 people sweep. April 8th, that was February 14th, 23. April 8th, 23, I was in Hartville at Giant Eagle. I go to walk in, there's two of the big truck guys. I walk in, they look at me and say, or they look over and then they look back. They're like, if we'll use your case to infiltrate our gang, you tell them to give me your money, we're out of here. Two of the cops walked in, laughed in their face, said, we actually did. I hate being monkey in the middle. Like two of those young agents in the Belden office at Walmart 62, look at all the people they hired to hurt her. We could use her for bait. I'd like my money. We all know John told on you. See, that's April 28th, 24, an officer in uniform. Karen, we all know nobody drugs anybody but the drug cartel. It was drug cartel in your home before. And we all know that guy told on you. And they sold the locket, so everybody knows.